morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk.
Morning, P. How's your week?
That was good. It was a lot of just kind of maintenance and one of the things I talked about was how the best moves are going to be pre-market.
Yeah.
That was my thought. And when you got these days where QQQ is kind of the one I follow, but SPY same deal. But the Qs will go up 1.5% overnight or in the morning, and then you're dealing with a range of less than 0.5% the whole rest of the day. And I mean, that's just a recipe to really burn out a lot of options for people trying to chase. So our rules there are good. The uncomfortable buys, I mean, you just gotta kind of stick with it. I mean, um, I've had several. AMAT is an example of a larger chip related stock where I was like, I'm going to DCA this a couple weeks ago. It's up about $20. Solar's been the same kind of thing. So lot of that. Just I think for it's not a great environment for options traders right now, and if you're not
Oh, sure.
buying time and swinging some options, the intraday stuff is pretty tricky. Because like I said, I mean it's all happening overnight, so that's happening just as we talked about.
Nice. Pretty good week. Not a huge week, but I'm hoping I wake up Tuesday and it's huger. But the DJT,
Yeah.
it's I don't know why, but that's like it's not the chart. It's a psychology play for me. I mean, it's purely the psychology aspect of the stock, and um, rum kind of took off in November around the day a little more than DJT did, but it's what's left here for the inauguration. So easy on that one, and then stupid stocks, man. TMC, appreciate you, P. Easy to play that one. I don't know how to compare it, but when you're off, it's like playing Minesweeper back in the office, right? Just got to kill a couple minutes. So TMC's great for me on that, and then some of those boring names that we talked about buying sad. What? I mean, it was a long time ago. I think it may have been 2, 3 weeks ago. So it was like half of some people's trading careers. But AA and
Yeah.
Oxy, like AA and Oxy, are in great spots for me. I mean, most comfortable thing. And then some of my crappy penny theses like PTLO. I mean, the count looks good when you wake up a decent amount um, in the morning just on stuff you're holding. So it just helps the mindset. I was buying a lot more last week. Got in a little bit more Barrett Gold. From I was in the previous week, but I just wanted some more. I like that 1550 level. And AG relentlessly buying under 6 for me. But other than that, pretty much just a textbook week with your caution and my vacation coming was just kind of like, yeah, I'd rather just hit the books, write some notes. For me, not to get too long winded here, but for me, taking off a week off the market or a week off from my desk, so to speak, I like to have good notes before I leave and then see what's verified when I come back. That gap in the window sometimes is helps you with a new perspective on things. So yeah, good week overall on both the research side, swing side, and adding stuff. Yeah, that's where I'm at, P.
Yeah, no, a lot of this stuff doesn't wait. SYM,
Oh yeah,
that
collabs,
was obviously that was a
collabs.
news front load. You didn't really know that at the time, but like I mean, I did see. I try to write urgency when I think. I mean, to me, that means in the next 2 weeks, this is going to do something. Yeah, because even if and it was weeklies that they had, so they had the 30C weeklies, but to me, even if they buy weeklies, sometimes whales get a little too aggressive, and it might happen, the week after, and they'll just punt the loss on that. So I don't buy something necessarily thinking, oh, it's going to go up tomorrow, but I have a pretty good idea that in the next couple weeks it'll do something. And then the batteries were a real clean read for me too.
Yeah.
Just ABAT and EOSE and some of those. So I mean that's it's kind of an ongoing thing. The energy trade, I'm still just on that. I just think that that's huge, and it encompasses so much. I mean, just everything from oil to uranium to solar to lithium and batteries. There's going to be an obsession with generating enough energy. All of these things they're talking about. I mean, this is, to me, it's the next phase of the AI stuff. The reality of it. How do you actually keep up with energy demands? And you so everybody's going to try to get a piece of that, and I think Flow's gonna bear that out, and then it's just about finding the right the right TA spots. And unfortunately, I mean, I said this the other day that I mean a lot of these stocks, they're what, like $2 or $4,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, buy 10 shares, buy 50 shares, whatever it is. I mean, they're pretty solid reads here, so you can take your $20, your $50, your $100, whatever it is, and we'll just repeat that, and find the next one. You don't need massive positions in these, and you can move in and out of them. I mean, that's just one of the advantages of smalls. I've talked myself into small caps. Like I really, when we started doing this, I didn't really like them that much.
I know.
I kind of tried my Flow stuff thinking it wasn't going to work on those, and it ends up working probably as well or better on those than some of the other ones. So that's been kind of an evolution for me as well.
Yeah, it's called growth, P. The same with me and the large. I mean, you just say the same thing with me and the larges. I wasn't trading $700-800 stocks before. It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
10 shares is cool. So for you covered some bases there. Right off the rip, you said like when you're pretty adamant, and it's not the first time I've heard you say it, but like if you're reading Flow, you're looking for that, buy the contract, maybe 4 of them. I know you pretty well. Maybe 4 of them, sell 2 on that first pop, sell 1 at like 50, that really big pop, and then hold that runner for a little bit, and you need that to happen in the next 2 weeks. So I mean that's just part of it. You have to have that happen, or you're eating premium. I mean, and that's what I love about our system, is because I don't give a fuck about that. I had all time in the world, 45 and retired. I got all the time in the world, like all the time in the world. So I look for levels to hold and make sure we're not going to bleed out more than, I mean, I'll just if you're throwing a number on it, we'll say 10%. But make sure, like our bottom from here is we stay with inside 10%. And I don't care how long we hang out here. So those 2 things, man, when they line up, it's a thing of beauty. So I just wanted to touch on that first, because that contrast that we have, I think a lot of people don't understand it. So I want to point it out that you're getting 2 completely different views. It's not a bunch of bias confirmation. Batteries and energies, just follow Professor. This guy's, I mean, he's a goddamn college professor. He likes to read. This guy likes to read. Take advantage of it. I mean, really, just take advantage of it, people. Batteries and energy. I'm glad I'm not going to miss oil this time around. I feel real good about where I'm at there. And then the batteries are fun because it's not like there's a Duracell or Energizer, right? Like these are all smalls in general. They're all smalls. They're all hopeful companies. They're all one news away from big boy Tesla, Google, Amazon, whoever. One news story away from maybe becoming a big name. So I love that. And then the small cap mention on the $2 and the $1 stocks down there. That's a hard thing for the Flow, and when we've learned that along the way, on how I trade, because I try to buy stuff in the dirt, and that Flow usually doesn't kick in. Like if it's $1, we're not getting Flow until 130, and I want to buy it 80, 90, and $1. So that's always been the hard part of me. But man, if it's $1.50, between $1.50 and maybe $2.49, almost $2.50, and you start talking $3 and $5, those have been some of the most successful trades I've ever had. So that's why I stay there. and I'm glad you're coming around on them because it takes a lot of the thesis emotion out of the trade. You can just take that 20% and call it good, after you do that, I think after you do that for a couple statements, so like a quarter or two, and you just see your account growth through the easier process. Um, you do tend to slide more over there as a swing trader or a I don't want to say buckshot, but like you've always said it great. Just put 50, $500 in there. You've always said it that way, and then that's
Yeah.
exactly what I mean by that. So yeah, I'm with you on all those things said, but you just covered a lot of bases there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know. And I'll just say too these stocks the stocks around the 10 psych, right? And then you get 15C. A lot of the battery stocks are like that,
Yeah,
and that has been such a great setup because those often they'll pop up to like 17, and then they'll come back to 12, and then we figure out are we going back to 10 or whatever. So they're not really the ENVX of the world and EOSCs. They haven't really been investment stocks, but I've had several 30-40% trades on those, and so yeah, real clean reads. Just overall, I've been saying that a lot lately, the clean read thing, and that's just sort of the market that we're in. So as difficult as I think the Apples and Microsofts of the world are going to be to trade over the next 6 months, um, there's a lot of calmer waters where you can see what's going on, and I think that's where we'll be over the first half of the year, in my opinion.
sure. Apple might be tradable eventually. Keep doing what it's doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's
There's always
our old level's long gone, but
yeah.
it can establish a new one if you get enough of these. I mean, Apple has a couple, 3% down days in a couple weeks, and they'll start buying it back up. That's for sure.
Yeah, I gotta go 10-year even get back to where we were. Um, yeah, and then the batteries. There's a lot of small when there's a lot of smalls like that, and it's something more thesis driven than just a lot of times you can equate the money to the news. Like how much market
Yeah.
does that really open? And a lot of times it's just fluff. But batteries are pretty big if you just think about. I mean, I said it a couple weeks ago. Like the robot dogs aren't going to have a cable hanging out the back of them. They got to have some good battery tech keep those guys going so they can hunt us down. Um, but you want to I do kind of start looking at fundamentals and board members and share construction and who has the shares in those situations a little more. And we've how long have we known about Array for? I mean, that's not new.
Right.
That's not new.
Yeah.
My my PL on that one's pretty good already. So um, yeah, I like that sector in general, and I see you getting back into. I mean, I'll say it here. I don't care. You got to get in the room to get it anyways. But I see you getting back into lidar too. So I mean,
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
that all makes just it's starting to make sense to me. And
I mean, if AI is going to see,
yes,
lidar is a big part of that. And I mean, I know that there's competing technologies and things, but I mean, knowing like what I know about academia and how they use lidar and archaeology, and they've been doing that for years now. That um, those kind of really specialized uses. That's where it starts, right? In hard sciences, and then you get kind of the public applications for things. And they've been putting a little lidar scanner on iPhones for years now,
Yep.
but the combination of that and AI to me is going to be a pretty big deal. And those stocks, a lot of those are just absolutely still in the dirt. So even just getting back to equilibrium is probably 200% on a couple of those names. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
yeah, I just like how it kind of organically comes up, lines up, and then fits. It's a perfect piece of the puzzle. So waiting for hydraulic fluid. Let me know when you have that.
Yeah,
Pete.
yeah, right. Well, and I'll say this too with with semiconductors. I mean, I've been ragging on AMD for a while, but um, really the specialized semiconductors, um, that looking at, well, what kind of semiconductor is this, and how is it used, is really important for some of those smaller names, the JV stuff, and the AAOI, which was a big win for us. Basically, that, I mean, those are semiconductors dealing with optics for electronics, and so when you have one that sort of is just really specialized like that, you kind of can ride the wave with some other subsector in tech, and this is, I mean, you're way ahead of people who trade these stocks and don't even know what a semiconductor is, when you actually put in the work and see what these companies do and sort of what they have on the horizon, and that is something I look at. I mean, usually for me it's flow first or it's TA first for stocks that we're familiar with, and then it's the story, and the story is what makes me not want to day trade something. It makes me want to swing trade,
Yeah.
or invest in something, and so that's going to play out across a number of sectors this year as well.
Yeah. It's funny that we just had to talk about like kind of looking into batteries, but Heminex,
Yeah,
I have a thing where I trade it just off the chart, so I really don't follow it much. But now I'm gonna look into it, so I hope it doesn't trade my perception on how I trade that thing.
sure,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
but it's just an easy read for me. I'm a little bitter. I had this line here, P. I was gonna throw out in the beginning about ego weakness, Fubo dropping to the level, Heminex up, and Piton at 840. But I
Yeah.
digress from that.
All
um,
right.
but yeah, no, I'm with you, and that's why. I mean, again, our yin and our yang just working well. I mean, I'm not. I mean, you see the ones I had this week. I think I had one over there this week. I think I have
Yep.
one in. I think I got one. I got. Oh yeah, I got one in Final Five too. Um, but yeah, I'm not looking at semiconductors because I like them. It's just because we have a thesis and these blocks fit. And when the JV team, I mean, you're calling for me.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that sounds like a stab to Unk. Hey, where's the smalls at? So I've been kind of following them. Um, I don't know, since before Christmas. I mean, you've seen my AMD FUD. That's been pretty obvious in there. So yeah, I like that. When it just the pieces kind of keep lining up, and we're seeing it in enough sectors, and enough sectors that we've been in over the last at least 2 years, if not in the last year, that there's going to be some pretty easy trades. Um, it's just a high or low on the chart that's coming off an all-time high, so it, you, that's the better spot for me because we're not going to have to work through. You just pop through the last high, the all-time high, and then there's no bag holders. And I would rather trade that than when it's a brand new all-time high chart, which I dealt with you over the last 3 years, almost on a
Yeah.
weekly basis. I get them. These are the all-time highs I'm looking to trade. So, um, yeah, good stuff. And I guess in the winners and the losers separating here. Yeah, love it.
So going over to crypto for a minute.
Oh Jesus.
There's been one thing I've been adamant about on crypto for months and months now, and that was that I don't really think there's going to be an altcoin season, right? And we don't trade this crap anyway. But I mean, even Ethereum, but Litecoin and Mana and all that stuff, like those have really struggled. And what's really done well in crypto obviously is Bitcoin, and then a couple of those names. Doge obviously has the Elon thing. Solana, it's kind of its own thing with the meme stuff. Trump launched a coin on Solana, so I think that's that's going to be around. But I bring that up to, if we rewind way back, there was a time in those miners where them being like, oh, we do Ethereum, or we do this one, or we do that one, like where that would move stocks. Ebon was like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Way back when. And that in this cycle, that story is completely dead. I mean, does anyone care who's mining Ethereum? No,
I haven't heard
not
that
at
in a
all.
while. Yeah.
I mean, people barely care who's mining Bitcoin. I mean, it's like it's like those stocks to me are just going to continue to be fairly difficult to trade, and you have to get the right ones. So I think we'll still be on that. So I bring all that up to say that, I mean, I would be really cautious about the Trump presidency as just being full send Bitcoin. I think that the idea that it's just going to pop to $150,000 from here, I mean, I don't really see that. Can happen. I don't mind being late on a move like that, but I don't think that with Bitcoin at 104,000 and we're about to get a new president, he's he's interpreted as being very favorable to crypto. I think all of that's true, but it doesn't mean that this is a great trade. We had last week. I just said again, I was like, MSTR, I don't have a lot of confidence in it, but I am going to go long here, and it was down near $300, and I didn't buy much, but it's pushing 400 in a week. But that doesn't mean that now you add at 400 looking for it to go to 500. So long story short, too long didn't read. I think you got to buy crypto on bad days, not good days. That's kind of my take on that. I think we still are looking at some pretty significant pullbacks, and those are going to be your opportunities. Your oversold pre-markets, your Mara down 8% pre-market kind of stuff. I think that's kind of what you need more than just Trump's president, pile in. A lot of dummies are doing that, and a lot of people who sell calls know they're doing that. So that's not a place you want to be, in my opinion.
Pet rock. $100,000 pet rock. I mean, I used to use the car analogy. Would you buy that car at 100? No. Buy it at 80? Probably not. When you get down there lower, and it sounds like a good deal, and it's just not a good deal right now. There's trades there. There's just way better trades out there, especially in a bull market. From a share side, and yeah, I'm over it. I'm interested in the story. If you wanted to be long any coins, you're kind of foolish. If it wasn't Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum, so like these meme coins, I've never got. I think I kind of yelled at you a little bit when you were even talking about them. Like, whoa, we don't want to be doing that. Like, it's a Ponzi scheme, in my opinion. I mean, and it's legal. Don't get me wrong, but it won't be forever. They'll figure it out, and I'm more interested in the Tether stuff, buying some government debt. I don't know exactly how it is, and that kind of stuff continuing to happen, the interaction with these coins in our government. So because there's some theories out there, conspiracy theories out there, which I hate them, they usually come true, that it's kind of a money laundering scheme to hold up the dollar, to buy off some of the dollar debt, and it's a way to get rid of debt for them. They just dump it on us. So I'm just not interested at all. I mean, maybe I Bitcoin, I kind of have a number. I mean, it will change through time, but it's in the 70s. I mean, that's where I'm back into it.
I called the local pivot at 92.
Yeah, you're great at that.
It's like that was that was the spot. If you wanted to kind of just get some and see what happens as Trump, takes over, that was the spot to get it. I mean, you're 50-50 now. at 104. It's and then even in options, like the worst thing that can happen, the IV is really high on those. So coin having a going down 2%, MSTR having a day where it's down 3%. You can't even really short that. I mean, it doesn't really make you much on puts either. So, yeah, it's a difficult spot, and I just think that there's better things. I mean, to me, the best trades of the Trump presidency early on are still going to be the sectors that got oversold on the idea that he's bad for them on solar, staples, RFK, and I follow that a lot. We're gonna ban red dye 32 or whatever.
We did.
And I start looking at craft and spices and all that stuff. So a lot of potential there. Tobacco, I still think has a lot of potential too. But yeah, crypto, it's crowded.
I'm gonna lead my last 5 with one of those and see how you feel about that.
Oh, nice.
Because that was the thesis behind that one, so that's interesting. Yeah, I don't get it. You should. I mean, someone in our room that traded pretty well or decently, and if I was gonna trade bit, we all know I've never owned a coin, so let's just get that out there. But Pele just bought 5 back in the day when it seemed like it was in the dirt and called it good. And I think that's how you trade. I mean, on a daily basis, I'm a range trader. Like, I want range in a good trend and at a good price, and that's just not it for me. That range is too volatile. I can't. Not that I've really tried, but reading Bitcoin from a TA standpoint doesn't really work for me with volume profile. So, I've always stayed away from
and for me the way the actual Bitcoin, like back when I said, well, what if Saylor's right? I started just buying like $50 a week of Bitcoin and did really well.
Yeah, he's right now. He was right, but he was right. He's not double right. I mean, and I said last week it could go to 200K. I get that, but monetarily, I just wouldn't be. I don't know. But
no, and I mean, and that stock's at a point where he's been diluting it, which is the exact opposite of the reason I liked it to begin with, because the float was small, right? So that was why I liked it back then. So it's not like CLSK dilution, but still that catches up to you, and so it's
and another thing with crypto, I guess I'm trying to get the point across to the freshmen. We're early. We're trying to be early, and when you're early to the party, you can also be the first to leave. So it's just a good time for me to go on to the next thing. I mean, I don't want it to be a bad memory. Crypto, right? Like, oh, I didn't like trading that, and I'm perfectly happy going home, wrapping it up, moving on. And I think I said that early in our relationship, and you brought it back in that January when you started talking about Mara. So I mean, just here, it's just time to close this chapter and move on. It was fun. It was fun while it lasted.
Absolutely. And I'll still be on it. All local pivots though. So.
I like that. I mean, that's a yin and a yang, right? I mean, you still find value in it, and I don't. That's perfect. That will change eventually, but it's just hopefully some people that don't have a lot of time or don't know what the fuck they're doing, excuse my language, will be like, oh, it's 50-50. I can find something a little safer. So you in secondary, and who else plays that in there? There's a couple other people that have. I'm sure Hewin in, you want it? You want it? You know that guy trades in crypto. Perfect. So give me some boring stuff, sir.
All right. All right. So
let me put your screen up.
Oh yeah. All right. Let me get make sure I'm sharing the right one here.
I've been over there like 4 times, and it's last week's ER page.
Yep. All right. Change window. Should be
Yep.
natural
Gotcha.
gas.
Yeah. Looks great.
All right. Okay, so natural gas again.
Hold on. Shout out to Jamie. Doesn't that look good? Look how nice that looks. Thank you, Jamie, for the tech support. All right, go for it.
So again, we nailed this one. We could victory lap all day. It was 220. It's it's $4 or whatever. But the what I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of the natural gas oil combo stocks are firing up, particularly mid caps, some new names. So I think that the sector sort of woke up, and this could dip back to 360 or whatever. Doesn't really matter. I think the trajectory of this is to get into the $5 to $8 area, and the accompanying move in a lot of the stocks is going to be 20%, 30%, 40%, and these are kind of quiet names, and I'm talking about a time frame from now to late summer. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for swing trades there, and definitely something I look at. And I don't really, it went down 7% Friday. It's going to do that. That's just how it is. But just be careful with the leveraged ETFs. Get a sense of how those work before you pile into those. But the oil combos, they're good because natural gas has a day like this. Not the only thing they do. They're not just going to follow this chart. They're not crowded. They're pretty quiet names. So, and I think they're just going to hit a pretty stable uptrend.
AP is AR a combo?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. And copper, again, copper made this pretty explosive move up back to this 450 area. Pullback's fine. I think to me, you want maybe a bounce around 425 or something like that. I think you're fine. The stock that I'm most focused on is this one.
What stock is that?
And I'll throw out one name here, just because it's under $100.
I'm gonna write that down.
It's not gonna stay under $100. It's probably 110, 120, something like that, and it just gives you some smoother moves than the other one. The other one I read for the sector, but it's it's in a pretty good spot too. 37 is my pivot on it.
That's a great one. Yeah, no, I like that. So CCJ is more uranium, but CLF,
yes.
Would that be affected by this read? Yeah, or is that more of just the steel?
Oh, steel. Yeah, so steel, with steel, you want copper to be healthy for steel to work. I don't really follow futures on steel. I mean, there's a couple of them, like something like coil rolled steel, and they get into all these specific ones. I don't really pay much attention to that, but as a sector, CLF, when it does break this downtrend that it's in, is gonna go crazy. I think. You look at the weekly on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where do you think we're going? You think we're going to $4?
COVID lows. Yeah, COVID lows.
It's not going to happen. So, so to me, 10's obviously pretty significant. I mean, I would really load up anything in the 8s. I just don't think we get there. So I think you probably, probably DCA here, and kind of normal conditions where infrastructure starts firing up. I mean, to me, you kind of get into this 16 to 20 zone. I think that's where we're going to end up on that. And they're a player for U.S. Steel too, so that's another news story that's out there.
Yes. But the copper doesn't relate to them as much as it should, because I kind of had that all in the same basket. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, I don't think that it's not as it's not as direct. I mean, you want a healthy copper market to stabilize steel, but it's not 1-to-1 like it is with aluminum's much more sensitive to it than steel is.
Perfect.
All right, and then oil. Again, I think we just nailed this. A break of 80
Yeah, what the hell?
is gonna go somewhere. I think. Where I still think 90, 92. That's my take on oil. But we don't really even have to get up that far for these stocks to do well. It wasn't that long ago people were dunking on Buffett about Oxy a couple weeks ago.
No, we nailed that.
And I'm like, all right, go. He's on a different calendar than you are, but go ahead and look at the minute chart on Oxy if you want to.
Oil's the best place, in my opinion, to buy SAD, because it's just, I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, unless it was like news, and then I would still, I mean, even if it was just like a fire somewhere, I'm buying. But if it would have to be like, they're banned in, I don't know. They can't sell in Africa anymore. I don't know. There's just nothing really, as long as the market is open to oil, it's all the same. I mean, it's all the same. So, and what I mean by it's all the same is like you can mix oil. Like you can get some Chevron oil and you can get some BP oil and you can mix them together. No one's going to know. So, I mean, it's literally all the same. You just got to get it to where it goes. So it's more about logistics than anything. For me, and yeah, I think it's the easy. I used to trade the ETF. I mean, you know that. So these individual names are way better because they're not leverage ETFs. So,
well, and the precision that we use in the sector is going to help us too, because you talk pipelines, tankers, exploration. In the exploration side, there's a lot of reshuffling going on where people, you'll see them, we want to sell this Permian asset or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and we're going to get into this area, and those kind of news events are really nice opportunities for you get overreactions to the downside, especially, and when these oil stocks overreact, it's not even about the flow is going to come in to save them. It's like the flow is already there.
Oh,
and the whales are going to say, no, we're not going to hang out down here. And then they'll buy up the shares and then, kind of bring it back. I mean, to me, the big story on oil over this year is they're not going to try to rewrite that. I think that's just going to play out. And any of the pullbacks along the way, they're just going to bring them back up. And so that's why what you said about, buying SAD, it works because the path of least resistance is to go ahead and stick with the positions they already have. And those are, your Devon 50 and your Oxy 65 and, those kinds of things. Contracts I don't really want to buy, but contracts that tell me where it's probably going.
Yeah, I don't.
And so we're going to be in that mode.
I don't even really trade options, but I'm old enough to know, my trading career is old enough to know that if most sectors are like your basic card game, from an option standpoint, there's some cards on the table. You got a couple upside down, couple in your hands. There's a deck right there. Oil is Monopoly. There's a lot of pieces. There's some chance cards. There's hotels on this. There's so many moving parts in oil. If there's anything too big to fail, it's that money. Because it was one of the first things ever really, like, it was tech when the stock market started. I don't know how else to say it. We didn't really have the big automobile industry, and it's grown. So and correct me if I'm wrong, there's just a lot of cards on the table, pieces, moving parts, from an option, even just from the option standpoint, or and the future standpoint, and all that kind of stuff. That it's not going too far. It's not like 30% move down for any reason.
And the as much as I like trading the green energy and all of that stuff, there's a lot of great trades there. I mean, the reality of the nation is that this nation runs on oil and is going to for a very long time.
Hmm.
And then that's even more true in the developing world. One of the reasons I look at South America and Africa, um, they have a lot of untapped oil assets, and they don't have a lot of the infrastructure to do all of that themselves. So American companies step in, and we'll supply your rig, and we'll do all this, and so that's part of that, part of that trade too. But yeah, I mean, the country runs on oil, and furthermore, this actually transitioned into something I want to talk about real quick before
Let's do it.
we get into SPY. If the market does get into any kind of downtrend, I think oil is going to do very well
Yep.
in those conditions, and we've been there before, and so that's I don't think that oil needs SPY to tank or anything like that to do well, but if we do get in a sustained move down in the market, you're going to want to already be in some of those oil names as well. So that's part of the appeal of the trade too for me.
Yeah, allow us one more point before we head the other way. Going to take a lot of oil to build all this clean energy infrastructure.
Exactly right. Yeah, yeah. Right. I mean, if you want to make one of those the wind farm thing,
Yeah.
to make the windmill, a lot of petroleum involved in that. You want to ship it somewhere, etc. So yeah,
I think we're going to tear those down. But in general, that's still taking gas.
yeah. I don't like those.
Yeah.
Really mess with the view, my part of the world. But,
I haven't said it to. Yeah, no, I drove through that way one time, and
yeah.
that nice flat vista is completely hammered by those. Um,
Yeah.
um, bull. One last point there before I go, just to get it in your head, because I'm sure you probably thought about it, but we haven't said it. If it's bad for wind, it's probably real good for solar.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, solar's always been a little more promising to me. And Elon, you don't hear Elon talk about wind power very much.
Sure.
He's not really into that. So yeah, that him being in Trump's ear is a big part of why I think solar is just fine. It's fine. And there was an overreaction there. Now, I had a kind of a question here. So as Trump comes into office, there seems to be a potential for kind of adversarial relationship between Trump and the Fed. That he maybe wants to like shake things up over there more than
It's the
previous administrations.
It's the only thing he doesn't have control of, really. You know what I
Right.
mean? He doesn't
Right.
really have the Federal Reserve is their own thing, good or bad,
Yeah.
indifferent, conspiracy, Rothschild bullshit, whatever. Titanic, take all your stuff into play. It is a separate entity, which leads to a lot of the what ifs about it. And what's going around right now is we're bankrupt and like the government budget, we're running out of money on the 21st, which looks planned. That's kind of a dickish thing to do. So
Right.
they've been throwing wrenches, so I continue to them to throw wrenches in the system. How the market reacts to that and whatnot, I assume their only tool is printing money, right? I mean, what other tool do they
Yeah.
have? If they do that, we've seen what happens to the market. That's obvious. The market doesn't go down when they print money. It
Right.
never does. It's short term bullish, sometimes medium term bullish. Long term, if it doesn't fix the problem, it's not bullish. On a longer scale, because it looks like we threw money at something we couldn't fix. So, yeah, I think it's the last war for him to win.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, I'm guessing. I'm not trying to. Yeah, I'm guessing if I told you I knew exactly what was going to happen come Tuesday.
Yeah, no, I think to me, there's just a lot of opportunities for the market to have bad reactions to things the Fed says or things he says. Not even necessarily concrete policy changes, but like but them butting heads. Um, I'm not going to go conspiracy and say that they're going to try to sabotage him and tank the market, or or something like that. But that that Trump volatility, I just think people got to get used to. We had a lot of that when he was president the first time, and I think we'll see some of that. And there's going to be a lot of mornings I say, don't chase puts, and or don't chase calls. And I just think that is really going to continue. And in that environment, to me, that's where you kind of want to be a swing trader. It's maybe a little bit counterintuitive because you're like, well, look at all this great volatility. But again, it's hard to catch that. It's hard to catch an overnight move of pop of 1.5% in QQQ when the night before the overnight move was down 0.8%. How do you trade that? You're just guessing, right? I mean, you could say, well, you have more up days than down, but still, I mean, you're still just you're watching the roulette wheel go around. Whereas instead, I think that what you want is positions that can weather those drops and then take advantage of overnight. Oh, look, well, shit, my my battery stock's up 16%. I'll go and sell half of that. So I think swing trading is the solution to the conditions that we're about to see, and so I'll just do my best to guide people through that.
Through the consolidation, I got you.
Yeah.
No, I'm a firm believer in that. I said it last week that if you were trading whatever, cut it back a little bit and kind of focus there. For me,
I had a note.
Go ahead.
You almost never see, which was to say, I was like, I'm not chasing anything. I already told you what to buy, so I didn't really put much of anything in my notes that day because it was the reaction to CPI or one of those.
Yeah.
And everything just took off. So it's like you had your chance.
PPI.
I'm not here to help you with some scraps this morning. And so I might have more days like that where I'm not just going to try to post something to post it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lesson there. I don't know why you didn't buy this stuff when I just talked about it. And now, it already moved and it's like, well, how much further is it going to go? I don't think you really want to be chasing like that.
The market is very counterintuitive. I haven't said this one in a while, but your best entry is a red candle. That's just how that works.
Yeah. Yep.
It's impossible not to be. So yeah, I see that. I'm a little, I guess, more optimistic even on the short term. Especially shout out to Goose. Watching Goose on, I think it was Friday. It might have been Friday. If not, it was Thursday. But just talk through SPY and how the buyers were coming in and what they were defending.
Yeah,
it seems like we're stuck on from a SPY standpoint. That 580 to 600 was a great shout. I'll still go back to healthy to touch the 50, which we haven't done. I'll go back to we haven't had more than 3 red candles in over a year. So stuff like that is just staying on trend. We do have some good consolidation, but that we covered the weekly candle last week, reclaimed the 50 SMA on the daily, is just all pointing to strength, P, in general. In the consolidation, though, which I do think will continue, I don't think we're running like the 630 or anything, but as we consolidate, maybe for 2 or 3 more candles, it's going to be real easy to find stuff that's in a trend in sectors that make sense. So it's more of a grindy market. That we have had a couple 20 percenters is also promising, but those are harder to catch if they're not one of your regulars, which we've been fortunate to get, like the FUBUs and the DJT the last few weeks. So for me, it's just kind of staying. It's easy. I said last week too. It's easier for me because there's just less options on the table with that extra check right now. So, yeah. Which is, as I say that, one last point on that. there's like 3. You only dropped like 7 in our collabs, right? There's 3 that
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have put on my list. Like I really would have
Right,
put
right.
3 of those on my list, but I just didn't have that extra check. And for me, professor is always an extra check. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah, our work's gonna pay off even more in this consolidation because we're focused versus chasing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I say 580, 600 on SPY? We're stuck there for a while. Yeah, we're stuck there for a while.
Yeah, and so that means, I mean, if our whole idea is we want more room above than below, we're at the point where there's more room below until it kind of proves something. And to me, to prove something, it tends to, like, it busts through with some aggression, retests, holds it, and then moves back up. I mean, that's kind of what you need to see. You just don't want to chase moves to the upside. I'll just keep saying that. And the main reason I say that is there's flow out there that is potentially worrisome if you're a bull. So the 540, 520 couple months out, that their positions they're still holding that can wake back up if we have a bad week or two. So I'm just mindful of that. And in all of this, I've done really well with SQQQ, just at those moments where the market's kind of a little too frothy, and you just buy it back up. So I think yeah, still look at hedging if you're heavy into tech, especially.
That's gonna take some news. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get any clarity on option? You got any option news over there? Like new dates? They were doing anything? Or is
I
it still kind of?
I got to see all the January 17th stuff, where those ended up, for me to get a clearer picture.
Because
They're not aggressively.
They'll do the roll thing, or
Yeah, I think they'll roll. They're not aggressively bullish on SPY in options. I think they tend to do that through futures instead, to the upside. So basically, what I'm reading is, they keep bringing the floor up. So how high are they gonna bring it? And I think, to me, it's like 560 right now is sort of where it's at, months out, which would imply like a move to 580 would do fine, and those would do fine. So I always look like 20 points above what I'm seeing. So I'll probably have a clearer picture of that next week. But I do.
Go ahead.
I lean a little bit bearish, but I think there will be euphoria to the upside first, and then we'll see how the pullback materializes after that.
And just by looking at what's on the screen, nothing above 600 really active. At 601, that's about it.
Yeah, nothing really.
Interesting.
Nothing really there. So
interesting. Yeah, I think another one of these sideways candles. It can't get much bigger. Can't get much bigger than that.
Right.
$25 candle. So 600, 580, kind of still the equilibrium. If you're trading SPY, I would go the other direction off of that. Like if you're, and again, that's a cup fill trade or a real short term thing. Back down from 6 or up from 580.
Let's in TA speak. A lot of people are talking about a hanging man.
Oh my god!
They must be talking about the SPY Weekly. Let me see. Is that a hanging man?
No.
All right. I've seen a lot of tweets about it.
I'm not seeing it. Fuck though.
To me, a hanging man has a real long wick on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then
maybe the daily.
Bodies
I
towards
can
the top.
see the daily, but no, that's not it either. But yeah, no, don't listen to those. If they start talking that, I actually posted that. I think that Jordan guy, because he was kind of making fun of it, and it's just confirmation bias. You see that? It looks like a bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out of here. I tried that stuff. I didn't try it, but I tried to draw them on charts for a while and see if they were effective, and I was like, this ain't it for me. Just give me two
Yeah.
lines and where buyers are. Call it good.
Right. Right.
You ready to get to work,
stuff.
P?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome. Like and subscribe, people. Link somewhere.